Students, welcome to Rational Classes. In this video, we are going to discuss about errors in measurement. Now, what is an error? An error is the mistake we make in measuring anything. Let's consider that this is a ball, this is a cricket ball or something, tennis ball. You're trying to measure its diameter. This diameter you're trying to measure. You can use a vernier caliper that you can place it inside the calipers like this and find out this distance. Now suppose you have found out that the diameter of this ball is 5.1 centimeter, but in the packet that came with the ball, suppose this is the packet, you bought it in a packet, and in the packet it is written that the ball diameter is 5 centimeter. Then you can see that actually the ball is 5 centimeter, but when you measured it you found out 5.1 centimeter. So what you found here, what you measured here is not correct. There is a mistake in it. So error is basically the difference between the original value, that is the 5 centimeter, the correct value 5 centimeter, and the measured value, which may or may not be correct. Now error is the difference between these two. So we can say that error is difference between correct and measured value. Now if your error here, our error is 0.1 centimeter here. Now if your error is 0 centimeter, or if your error is 0, then you can say that the measured value is equal to the correct value. So error is basically the difference between the measured value and the correct value of the measurement. Now errors can be of many types, but they have been classified into 3 types basically. The first type is systematic errors. Now what are systematic errors? What do you mean by systematic? Systematic means something that goes by a system, that goes by a rule, that follows a rule. That is systematic. So systematic things happen because of a cause, because of a reason. Systematic things don't happen randomly. There has to be something that makes systematic things happen. So basically systematic errors mean the errors whose cause you can determine. For example, let's say in this vernier caliper that you used to measure the diameter of the ball, you found out the diameter is 5.1 centimeter. But when the caliper is closed, like these two parts, when these two parts are kept together, still your caliper reads 0.1 centimeter. The gap here is 0, but your vernier caliper reads 0.1 centimeter. In that case, you can say that your vernier caliper is not calibrated properly and the error is in the instrument. So that will be a systematic error. This is a systematic error. Then other systematic errors include personal errors. Like personal errors may be random errors also, but some kind of personal errors are systematic errors, like error due to parallax. Suppose you're taking reading of a meter. Let's consider that this is an ammeter. What are ammeters used for? Ammeters are used for measuring current. Now let's assume that there is a dial and here is the scale of the ammeter. Let's take 5, 10, 15, 20 etc. Now when you are measuring the current from the ammeter, you have to watch this dial right from above it. If you are looking from left side, if you are looking from here, then you will see a value that is greater than the original value. If you are seeing from the left side, then you will see something that is less than the original value. But only if you see right from top of it, then only you will see the correct value. So if you are not seeing from the correct position, then your eyes will see a different value which is not correct. So this is another systematic error. This is known as parallax error. We have discussed about parallax in our previous video, so check out that video if you want. So this is another type of error, that is Personal error. Then other errors include other systematic errors include your mistakes in experimental procedures, like your procedure is not refined properly, you are not thinking about the formula properly, and while setting up the experiment, suppose you have not balanced or calibrated things properly. In that case also there will be some errors that can be said as systematic errors. So basically systematic errors are systematic errors are any error that has a cause. Now the definition given in books is that systematic errors are errors that have any directional value, that is they have positive or negative value. Of course, if they are happening because of a cause, they will have a definite positive or negative value, but to make it easy to understand, you can say it as any error that has a cause. The second type of error is least count error. This one is purely mathematical to understand. Let's take the example of a small cuboid that you are measuring, the dimensions of which you are measuring. Let's assume that this is the cuboid, this is the length, this is the breadth, and this is the height. Now at first you are measuring it with a meter scale. Let's assume that by measuring it with a meter scale, you are getting the length L to be equal to 5.7 centimeter. Again, you are using a vernier caliper to measure it, and there you are finding that using vernier calipers you are finding that length is equal to 5.78 centimeter. Now you see 5.78 can also be said as 5.8 centimeter. Now these two values are different, right? Here is 5.7, here is 5.8. Now which one is correct? Of course the correct one is 5.78. So when you are using an instrument that does not have much resolution, there you are going to get a value like this 5.7, which is not correct. Even if you round out the original value to one decimal place, you are still getting 5.8. You are not getting 5.7. So these are the type of errors that are counted in least count error. So these occur due to resolution or least count of instruments. The third type of error is random error. Now, like the name suggests, these errors happen without any reason or without any cause. These are basically inherent errors in any measurement. For example, if you are measuring the dimension of a cylinder with a vernier calipers, then every time you will get a different value. You will not get the same value every time. For example, like measuring first time you will get 5.1, measuring second time you will get 5, measuring third time you will get 5.2, etc. So these are like random errors. They don't happen without any reason or cause. They are inherent in your instruments, in the procedure that you do. There is no exact reason that these errors happen. That's why they are called random errors. They are inherent in the measurement. Those were the types in which errors are classified, but for the sake of calculations, errors are classified into further 3 types. Those are absolute errors, then relative errors, and then percentage error. Relative error and percentage error are very similar, so it will be easy to understand. Let's take the example of a box. This is a box. Now we are trying to find the dimension of this box. This is a square box where all the sides are L. Now for example, by measuring with scale or with a vernier caliper, we find out the length L to be 4.8 centimeter. This is our measured value. Remember, this is our measured value. But after some inspection, we find out that its original length is 4.75 centimeter. This is the original or correct length specified by the manufacturer. So this is the correct one. Here you see the correct value is different from the measured value, so there is an error. So in this case, absolute error will be absolute error, I'll write E, equal to what was the measured value, 4.8, minus what was the correct value, 4.75 centimeter. Therefore the absolute error is 0.05 centimeter. This is the absolute value. Now what is relative error? Relative error is basically absolute error divided by the correct value. So in this measurement of the box, the relative error will be 0.05 centimeter by, what is the correct value, 4.75 centimeter. You can calculate this. Notice one thing, that in case of absolute error there is a unit centimeter, but in case of relative error the units are cancelled. Relative error is basically a unitless ratio which is given by absolute error divided by the correct value of that measurement. Now what is percentage error? Percentage error is nothing but when relative error is multiplied by 100, it gives us percentage error. That is relative error into 100%. Now percentage error is also a unitless number. Now let's come to the combination of errors. What do we mean by combination of errors? Suppose you are measuring the area of a rectangle. Area. Now how is area calculated? Length into breadth. Suppose you are measuring it with the help of a scale. Now the scale, now in that measurement with scale, you may make mistakes, you may make errors. Now if you make errors, some error will be made in measuring the length L. Now you are measuring it with scale, some error will be made while measuring this L, and some error will be made while measuring this B, right? So you're making mistakes in L also, you're making mistakes in B also. How does that affect your measurement of A? To find that, we have to use combination of errors. There are basically two simple formulas that you have to remember. First one is for addition. Let's take for example A equal to B plus C, right? Now you don't know what error you will make in A, you'll need to find that out, but you know that you are making some amount of error in B and some amount of error in C. Let's assume that error in B is delta B and error in C is delta C. Now what does that mean? Error in B is delta B means the maximum value of B is B plus delta B and the minimum value of the measurement of B is B minus delta B. This is your this is basically the range of your calculation. The original value is B, but you are not getting B every time. Sometimes you are getting the maximum B plus delta B, sometimes you are getting B minus delta B. So basically delta B is the error which gives us the range of mistake you are making. Now if the error in B is delta B and if the error in C is delta C, in that case you basically memorize the formula that the error in A, delta A, will be equal to the sum of error in B, that is delta B, plus the sum of error in C, that is delta C. Now even if this is minus, then also this will be plus, because this is the sum of error. This sign does not come from this sign. Basically, even if you are doing plus or even if you are doing minus here, the errors will always add up. In case of addition, the error in the final quantity is equal to the sum of absolute errors in the quantities that are added or subtracted. Let me make it clear again. Even if it is A equal to B minus C, then also delta A will be equal to delta B minus plus delta C. Even if this is A equal to B minus C, then also this will be equal to delta A equal to delta B plus delta C. So the signs does not depend here. As long as the terms are added or subtracted, their errors will always be added. And remember that in case of addition, it will use absolute errors. One way to remember is that in addition there is A and in absolute errors there is A. Let's come to the next type of error, that is for multiplication. Now let's consider the combination of errors for multiplication. Let's assume that there is a square. Let's assume that there is a rectangular box. There is length L and breadth P. Now the area of that box will be given by area A equal to length into breadth. Let's assume that the error in length is equal to delta L and the error in B is delta B. In that case, the relative error in the measurement of A, will be given by del A by A is equal to the relative error in measurement of L, it is del L by L, plus the relative error in measurement of B, that is del B by B. You can look up the derivation in the book, which is given in detail, and it's very easy to understand, so we will not go into much explanation. But remember that even if this is division, for example, let's say if it is A equal to L divided by B, in that case also the same formula applies. So or division, remember the combination of errors for addition. In that case also we took for addition or subtraction the same formula is, that is the sum of absolute errors. Here for both multiplication and division we are using the same formula, that is the sum of relative errors. Remember that all these terms are relative errors. Let's take the third tab, that is for exponents. Now what are exponents? You know that exponents are basically terms raised to some powers. To make it easy to understand, let's take the example of a square of length L. Now what will be the area of this square? Area A will be equal to L square. Now in this case the combination of error is same as the combination error for multiplication. You can write this as A equal to L into L. So by the logic of combination of error for multiplication, we can write that relative error in A is equal to relative error in first term L plus relative error in second term, that is also L. So you can write it as 2 into del L by L. So for a general formula A equal to B to the power n, we can write that del A by A equal to n into del B by B. Now using this you can find the total error for any formula that includes addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponents, etc. So these are the three simple formulas using which you can find the values of error of any formula. We'll discuss the problems regarding this in our next video. So till then, keep safe, keep studying, and please support us by liking and sharing the video. Thank you.